For me, traditionally, Nishant, my audience had been very, very India-centric. But over the last 5 years, we have moved from about 90% of our audience being in India to today, more than 50% of our audience being global. So less than 50% of my audience is in India today, then followed by Europe, and then followed by Americas. So I really look at it as sort of a seamless international platform. I'm not looking at any specific geography per se, but for me, interest areas are really critical and crucial. So people who are interested, so I'm in the genre of edutainment. We're trying to educate people about motorsport, at the same time provide some form of entertainment. And these are people who are automotive enthusiasts. These are people who are interested in technology, in understanding about motorsport. So we go wide in terms of geographies and deep in terms of interests and behaviors. So for me, I think it's like any other digital platform. All our digital advertising and all our digital content sort of gets consumed across the globe. So that's exactly how I see podcasts as well, where they work as an extension of my digital content. We are present everywhere where our audience is, because our approach is it's kind of a combination of what everyone's doing. Plus, on top of that, we want to have our own IP per se. So it's Straight Torque, which is a podcast by Mahindra Racing. So it's not in partnership with someone else or with any other platform which is creating branded content for us. It's completely in-house. It's done by our in-house and our agency teams. Because for us, we also are looking at creating interesting assets to engage our existing partners and sponsors. I mean, if you see sporting teams in general, each one of them would have multiple partners and sponsors, and there are multiple assets that sporting teams offer, right? Right from team jerseys to the race car to whatever you will, the billboards that you see across the track or a field. This becomes another digital asset for us to create. And we've managed to do this successfully with some of the other assets which have been on YouTube for the last 4 or 5 seasons, where we have a content creation partner, but we have some of our other sponsors and partners getting involved in it. So that's where I see podcasting go for us, wherein we will use it as a digital asset, where not just our fans, but also our other partners can use it as a platform to tell their stories. Where do I see it? I think the future would be where we get into more focused niches, if you will. So today it's a little more wider and broader. Maybe tomorrow we have something which just talks about automotive technology, because we know that is something which is, there are a bunch of automotive and tech geeks who love to listen to that sort of content. So maybe we create a small niche which just focuses on that, something which just focuses on driving a race car and just go deeper into that. So that could be the future. And that's how we see it evolving. I think to answer the part of will more marketing people come onto podcast, I think the starting point really is, if you ask the larger agency ecosystem, I don't think when the agency thinks of selling media, podcast is up there in their priority list. Yeah, I think so. The starting point for, in general, the marketing folk is that there needs to be more education about the opportunities around podcasting, the opportunities, some of these things, that Shri and Amit have been talking about, and MBS spoke about what we are doing. I think it's a lot of these things are very enlightening for me as well in terms of what's happening in the space. I think this needs to happen as an industry. Everyone needs to come together, work with the agencies to first start educating the marketeers around what really are the opportunities, and that really will be the starting point. I think in terms of categories and genres, I think this is content consumption, right? And podcast being played mostly on your mobile devices, which today is the most intimate device that everyone carries around. I think it's so much more easier to consume that content. But as I said, we need to start with educating people. In fact, and it's linked to the last question that one of the audience members asked, which is, when are you in a position to start monetizing? And I will link it back to what Amit mentioned, where 5,000 podcast listeners are probably better than 100,000 followers on Twitter. I think if your audience is right, if your audience is in a sharp enough niche where the brand is interested in, I think then it's not a numbers game. Yeah. If you are in a B2B space where the ticket size is large. So if you tell me that you've got 5,000 CXOs listening to your podcast each week, each month, whatever, as opposed to 50,000 general 20 to 30-year-olds, the audience, the 5,000 CXO audience is far more important to a brand which is trying to reach out to CXOs. So it's not a numbers game. When can you start monetizing? It's not dependent on the size of an audience, especially as far as podcasting is concerned. That's where it is different from a platform like YouTube, where it's you want to look at big numbers and millions of views. So I would look at the audience fit. That really is the first thing, and then of course the numbers. What is the size of your audience?